Gurulogic, welcome to both sides.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to have to ask the obvious question.
Yeah.
And I imagine you can look it up on Wikipedia or something. But why the name? Or how the name? Right?
How the name? Yeah, it's quite a long story. It will take the whole segment. But the short version of it is...
we've got the whole night.
The short version of it is... I was playing Scrabble with a friend, a long time ago. And the only tiles that I had could spell Guru. So, I didn't even know at the time what it meant. And when I spelled it, we, broke into an argument and checked it. And
you won.
It exists, yeah. And it means, teacher. And years later, when I moved from my corporate life into my music life, I was wondering what name, would be appropriate to use as an artist, and that name came back. I was like, wow, that was the point of that name. And I guess also it's based on my philosophy, how I approach life in terms of, believing that one should follow their passion. That's the logic behind the Guru, You should do what you love. I did, corporate for 15 years as an engineer. I love science, I love engineering, but my first love was music.
And that's what you went to study originally?
Yes, I studied that.
And then you went directly into a career?
Went directly into a career, worked, for huge companies, and as an engineer, did well. And but I knew something. There was something hollow in me. There was something missing. I was like, eventually, I mustered the courage to say, no, I have to put this aside and do what is calling me. So, hence the philosophy of one must do what they love, follow your passion.
So, did you learn to play while you were in corporate life, or did you step away completely, make just a thorough break, and then move into music?
I started playing while I was in varsity. I actually spent more time in the piano rooms than in the lecture halls, and obviously affected my academic, performances.
Well, not too badly.
Yeah. But so I started playing self-taught. I used to have a Walkman those days, and I would have cassettes, rewind, play, listen to the music and try and emulate what's being played there, which was very difficult, obviously. I mean, you can't listen to jazz without training and try. But over the years, it started coming out,
right?
Of me. So I did both for a long time.
And what sort of music were you listening to at that time?
Wow, I grew up on lots of beautiful music, thanks to my dad. He's got a huge variety of music, classic, South African jazz, reggae, jazz, blues. So I basically, was fortunate to listen to a variety of music growing up. But I think I gravitated more towards jazz and fusion because of, the exposure to it. And it went well with, with me, it felt good, yeah.
But I imagine that's not what you were listening to on the radio, though. That's certainly not what was big
on the radio. I mean, there was all sorts of music. I mean, locally, there was Brenda Fassie, there was, Kefa Semenya, Hugh Masekela, there was, even the pop era, Chico Twala, and, I listened to basically everything on the radio. And also they had some international stuff like, Earth, Wind and Fire. I was never a huge fan of R&B. I felt like it's a bit moany. But I grew up listening to a variety of music. Yeah.
I want to talk about this, and I don't want to call it a schism between a corporate life and the life of a musician. But, you said you should do, what you're passionate about. But I want to ask about the challenge you have when you're earning a salary. You have a degree. It's something that you've put a lot of your time into, because it's not only your university career that got you there, it's your schooling. And now you have to make this break. And the life of a musician, I always say it's possibly one of the worst career choices.
It's like entrepreneurship.
Exactly, because we only read about successful entrepreneurs and successful musicians, right? Many
Capsize,
others that aren't able to make it. And I also say that you can't legislate for public taste. So you can put out something that your record company, your friends, your fellow musicians, your producer all feel is amazing, but the public have no interest.
Yeah.
So how did you get yourself into a mindset that said, this is what I'm going to do? And at the very least, even if I'm not making as much money or as successful as I was in the corporate world, I'll be okay.
Yeah. Look, I in the beginning, I thought I could juggle both, corporate and music. So that's what I tried to do, But I think the thing that moved me the most was the emptiness that I felt in corporate. The money was beautiful. My career was flourishing. I was doing very well as an engineer, because I love science as well. I'm good at it, mathematics and all that. But I always felt empty. And the emptiness was that thing that I was like, how do I fill this thing, this void? And each time I sat in front of a piano and started playing, that's when I felt
happy
and whole, like, this is me, And it took a lot of guts. I don't want to lie to you. It took a long time. It took 15 years for me to master the courage to say, no, listen, give this a shot. You've got one life to live. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work, you'll make it work. You'll find a way,
Were you married at the time?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you didn't only have to make the decision for yourself, you had someone else to consider as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had, kids as well. So, and the support system around, people around you would tend to say, no, man, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't leave a secure, career. You're doing well. Things are looking good.
I think it's not only happened to musicians who have careers. I remember, I've seen an interview and Elvis says, my daddy said, never seen a guitar player who was worth a damn.
Yeah.
So there's a big circle around musicians of people close to them who say, really? Are you sure?
On, man, you can do this after hours and on weekends, Do you have to leave your job for it,
Then you met musicians from Birchley, Tembisa, Davidton. You started putting the band together, as it were. You now obviously have to move into some sort of professional setting. So you have to get gigs and a manager and a record label, all those sorts of things. I'm sure you would have done your research by then. So how did you go about the business end of things?
Look, the business end of it was easy for me, coming from a corporate setting, running things from a corporate setting. So that was not difficult for me.
So you knew people who were lawyers and...
I knew people, but also I did a lot of research, a lot of studying, a lot of, understanding the business and mostly following my intuition, because it was the one leading me into that. And I was like, because when I started, I tried to do you know, the engineering way of doing things. You know, we
Plan.
boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we do this at this time. We do that at that time. You know, we approach these musicians and it didn't work because most musicians at the time were like, "Do you have gigs? Where are we playing? You know,
Are we making an album?
are we jamming? What are we doing? When you have a gig, call me and then I'll come and
Sure.
and do something." So when I moved away from the logical way of doing it and just following my intuition of doing it, then things started falling into place. I met the right people who connected me with other people, and mostly it was me funding it from my own pocket for many years. Probably for a decade or so. You know, funding the band. We started doing a lot of pro bono gigs.
Sure. Got to get your name out there.
But posting them, and we don't say, you know, we're not getting paid for this gig when you post it. So it looks like you are really, getting a lot of traction. So because I still love it in that way, even today, it was not doing it for the financial gain. It was, I just want to play this thing.
Sure.
And feel good.
But you had to balance the finances because your family.
Initially, I didn't see it until I went full time into it. That's when the financial thinking started, clicking in to say, listen, you love this thing. We know you're doing it for fun, for the love of it, but it has to also
pay the bills.
Yeah, it has to pay the bills. So because I was working, and so I used my income to fund,
sure,
the band's movement and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Did you then join a record company?
Not at all. Initially, I tried. Before I had a band, I tried. I took demos and stuff to a lot of places, but it never really panned out. So I eventually decided to start my own thing, to say, look, you've got the business acumen, just do your own thing, and you can give yourself things that probably a record label contract might not be able to afford you, So that's
make the investment yourself.
Make the investment, put in the time, put in the money, practice, and eventually it will come into play.
What was or is the hardest part of being in the music business?
I would say the hardest part is, for me, the hardest part was juggling between the artist hat and the business hat. For me, that was the hardest part. Because when you're a musician, you're happy to play. If people call you, hey man, we have a function, come and play. We don't have a budget. You're like, hey, I'm playing somewhere. I'm happy to. So to eventually merge the two and wear that business hat was, for me, it took a little bit of time, and hard lessons, and tons of money spent, on without accounting for it, because you're throwing money into something you love, so you don't really.
But I imagine when you look back now, though, the sacrifices were worth it.
Absolutely. No, they were well worth it. Well worth it.
What is your favorite part, in that case, of the music business? Because you were talking about the reward that you get, but now you're playing on major stages. We have the Joy of Jazz coming up. You're able to be in a setting with other local, international musicians. There must be quite a sense of fulfillment and success in just that. But what is your favorite part about now having reached that level?
I must be honest. I'm the most favorite, if there's anything like that, part of this is having to connect with people, other musicians, the audience. That's why after most performances, I go into the audience and talk to people. Well, you'll see me doing that in my everyday life in malls and whatever. Because that's what I love doing, connecting with people, talking to people, you know, and building. I also love building long-lasting relationships with people, you know. That's why I'm able to check in on people, maybe even if it's twice a year. Once I connect with someone, it's a long-term thing for me. So
but it's also a good network to have.
Absolutely. You know, it bears fruit without you thinking, listen, I'm planting this seed and I'm going to get apples out of it. Yeah, and people are like, hey, I thought of you, you know? And so it does have its spin-offs.
Absolutely.
But I think if you consciously go in thinking, yeah, I'm connecting with this person and I want a gig out of it, I think it might not.
I interviewed McCoy Mabata, who's also on the show with you on Joy of Jazz.
Yeah.
And he said that when he met Paul Hanmer, Paul had written these tracks that were going to be on his album. So he went to go and meet him for the first time. And he thought, I'm not sure about this guy.
Yeah.
You know, Paul is very sort of direct with him. You know, said to him, you know, sit down there, turn your bell the other way. It was like, oh, who's this guy? You know? And he says, now they're like brothers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you start of this relationship, or you may start of a relationship, as you say, thinking, you know, if I do this, I'll get this out of it. Whereas you might meet someone with whom you don't necessarily initially connect, and yet 20 years later, you're off making an album or touring somewhere.
Exactly, yeah. So the thing is to keep your connections open, and they must not have the burden of what's in it for me here, you know. Then it becomes authentic. You're connecting for the sake of connecting, and that's, you know, it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes, you know, magic happens there. Sometimes it's just, you know, mellow and cool and nothing spectacular happens. But
what do you look for in the musicians who surround you, the people you work with?
Energy. I don't care much about technical ability. My thing is, what are you saying when you're doing your thing? What is the energy that you're taking out?
What are you communicating?
What are you communicating? What are you saying to the people? What are you saying to yourself? That's my thing. You know, that's why in my music, I don't like, you know, forcing people into lines. Play this there, play this there. The thing that I want is melodies. Obviously, we can't change melodies but express yourself. You know, maybe on that day you're feeling something else, something happened when you go on stage, you know, put that in the music and people will feel what you're saying. You know, that's the thing for me. Yeah.
Certainly from when you left corporate and started in the music business, a lot has changed.
Absolutely.
The delivery mechanisms for music, and also the necessity of keeping your name out there. From a social media point of view, right? I mean, you have an opportunity, of course, to be on this kind of show and on television, etc., and to play live gigs. But you've got to keep your own momentum going inside the digital world.
Yeah.
Is that difficult? Do you have someone who does it for you, or you know, are you able to keep that momentum going? Because it seems to be, to me, like a big job all on its own.
It is. That's why for most, I mean, my social footprint, social media footprint started getting bigger, I think from 3 years ago. And my philosophy around that is I don't do anything out of pressure. Pressure doesn't, you know, work well in what I'm trying to communicate. You know, things must be easy. They must come easy. And if we post something, it explodes. We're not pushing to post the next thing tomorrow. We must post 3 videos a day. I don't do that. I do it out of, you know, it must be a natural rhythm. And I find that when we do things naturally and they flow naturally, the results are better than, you know, if you trying to force things, you know, trying to force the outcome. So if you check my social media, you'll see that I do post, but it's not, you know, it's not scheduled in a way where now it has to come out and, you know, it has to be in a forced way. It's easygoing. It's when I feel something, I feel that this presentation will do something for people who are watching, because a social media channel for me is like it's a TV channel for me. You are entertaining someone somewhere. You know, does this have entertainment value or not? You know, will this make their day better or not? If I feel, oh, I'm enjoying this so much, chances are the next
Someone
person
else
will enjoy it. Then I record it. The other stuff, I keep it away from that.
What can we look forward to at the Joy of Jazz?
Oh wow, that is going to be, you know, pretty much amazing. Yeah, look, we'll be giving it our all, bringing all the beautiful energies that we normally bring on stage. You know, we'll be giving people what they know about Gurulogic and perhaps some other stuff, new stuff that they didn't expect us to bring. Because we do new jazz as well as, you know, some fusions of younger genres of music with jazz. Jazz is always in the pot. So sometimes we throw some other younger genres in there, in the pot, and mix them up. So that's what people can expect, a fusion of all things beautiful and jazz. Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
We've spoken about your initial influences, your dad's music collection and the things you were listening to, you know, a combination of, you know, that and the radio. I think that happens for a lot of musicians, you know. They're not just listening to what is big in the charts at the time. They've got their own kind of genre that they're also just specifically listening to that maybe no one else is really following. How do you, and I don't want to say progress, but how do you move to kind of the next conception of what Gurulogic is about? Because obviously, you know, you don't just want to remain in the same place playing the same stuff. So what influences you? And you seem to not be a person who's going to say, well, you know, at the end of 2027, you know, in the next 18 months, I'd better make a change in order to do this. You kind of want to feel it.
It has to be organic.
Exactly. Before saying, yes, that's a good idea. So how do you go about that?
The biggest thing for me is following your inner voice. Because I feel that as artists, we are conduits. We're basically channeling from a higher realm, if you want to. So to remove yourself from the process, this is my personal experience, it might not be for others. I found that removing myself from the process has brought a lot of progress or growth, because then you start hearing certain things that you want to do, like, oh, that sounds beautiful. You wake up at 2:00 in the morning and you grab your phone, do, ba, 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 and you know, rush to the piano and, you know, so I believe in that process of being organic, because once you start being intentional and logical once I start to be intentional and logical about it, I find that it starts to sound like something which is out
its
there.
Essence.
You know, it loses the essence, as you say. So follow the energy, follow the music, follow the passion. Remove yourself, because mostly we want to be drivers of our lives, right?
No, look, I mean, you make a very good point. I saw an interview once with Eric Clapton. He was talking about the late Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he said, he felt that Stevie Ray Vaughan, there was just an energy that he was able to communicate through his guitar playing, rather than someone who said, well, at this point of the song, I'll play this
you
lick.
Must do that chord,
and then at this point, I've got to go for this note or whatever. It was kind of like he just felt it. He obviously had the chops in order to do it. But as he felt it, he would play it.
And it gets revealed to you, and it's amazing when that happens. And you sometimes
also
it's during
allows
rehearsal.
you to make one or two mistakes, which might be really good mistakes.
Exactly, and you're like, wow, that works, and you stay there, But if it's flowing and organic, then it moves in a way that it needs to, Yeah.
Any musicians that you'd really like to play with, or record with, or associate with? And as I say, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be another pianist, or it could be a drummer that you think, geez, I wish that drummer was in my band.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of them. Locally, I would say Jonathan Butler. I love his work, his tone, and what he says with his guitar. I would love to do something with him. And I believe that time will come. Internationally, there's a few, but I don't know, maybe I might sound like a broken record. I feel like the right people that I need to connect with and do stuff with will present themselves will be presented.
But But I'm putting you on the spot now. Name one other musician you think internationally that you think, wow, if I could work with them.
Kek Wallam is one. I love his tone on the sax. He's beautiful.
And he's visited the country on a number of occasions?
Yeah, he's visited a few times. There's, vocalists that I would love to work with as well. Because now that you've asked me, the names are, they're running from me. But there's a lot of brilliant musicians out there, gifted people, and if our voices and our messages are aligned, I would be very happy to, sit down and do stuff. Black Coffee comes to mind. Nduduzo Makatini comes to mind. Because I love what he does. He's got a lot of medicine in him, if I can call it that. I'm sure after the interview, I'll be like, oh, I should have mentioned so-and-so.
Tell me about a gig that you went to, though, and that really you thought, away from the person's talent, or their technical ability, that you thought, wow, that was a great night.
I used to attend a lot of these live shows. Zim Nawana comes to mind. I attended a few of his live shows. Beautiful, beautiful. Jimmy Tlutlu. Those were lovely performances. And sitting there as an aspiring musician, I wanted to go there and say, oh, guys, can I have your number? Can you, sign my CD for me, or that sort of thing. There's a lot of memorable live performances that I've been to that I felt like, that was amazing. But those two come to mind now.
When you're in corporate, I guess no one really, you're not going to end up in the media largely. And someone's not going to say, so what do you do away from being an engineer?
Yeah.
But I mean, in this case, obviously you have kids, and what do you like doing when you're not being Gurulogic, when you're not thinking about the band, when you're not thinking about playing live, when you're not thinking about you generating an income from music? What do you like doing?
To be honest, I'm a homebody. There was a time where I used to be out and about. Now I just, I enjoy sitting at home, with my wife, with my kids, and funny enough, I don't listen to music much when I'm trying to relax, because I find it pulls me in. Yes, and now I'm like, oh, that guitar, that piano, the chord. Oh, let me check this quickly.
It's very difficult to explain to people who aren't kind of into music.
Yeah.
And I said, I read that Prince was with, I'm not trying to think of her name, but basically they were watching TV together, and some music show came on. Yeah. Watching it. And he looked at her and he said, are you also arranging the songs in your head?
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not just listening to like I would, someone else would listen to the music. Yeah. They're thinking, okay, but if I change that solo, it was actually this person playing the solo, how would that sound?
Yeah, and that's working.
100%.
Now you are in work mode now.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy, and as I say, it's difficult to explain to people who might listen to the radio, have music on in the background, that is actually what's going on in your head.
Yeah, absolutely. So I spend most of my time, my free, relaxed time, not listening to music, because I find that then I can relax. I watch soccer. Complain about this. I'm the coach. I'm the referee.
Also gives you time to regroup.
Absolutely.
Get your energy back.
Absolutely.
So that then when you go back,
you're recharged.
Absolutely.
The hunger is there now. It's bigger.
It's almost like there's a little bit of a palate cleanser, for want of a better term.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Anything else that you want to tell us that we've missed that you...
I think the biggest message, if there's something that I can offer, and coming from corporate and transitioning into my passion, it's not easy. I'm not going to say to anyone, if you transition into your passion, it's gonna be lovely. You will find and meet yourself that you never knew existed.
Because there's some very hard choices that you have to make.
Absolutely.
That you wouldn't face
any other. And those choices are the things that will shape and make you become who and what you're supposed to be. So the message is, go for it. Do what you love. Follow it. There's a reason why this thing keeps, coming up in you. It's not easy. But it's worth it.
And I guess also, you said it earlier, you only have one life to live. You don't want to be in a position where you're in your 70s and you're
sitting there regretting,
I could have done that.
I should have been brave.
Done that.
I should have done this. Look, if you're a corporate animal and that keeps you going, stay there.
Absolutely.
We're not advocating for people to leave their jobs. We're saying do your passion. And if your passion is corporate, do that. But if your corporate is tomatoes, please, man, go and make tomatoes. We will taste your love in your tomatoes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to September.
Yeah.
And I think generally it's going to be a great show.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing, yeah.
I'm definitely coming to your stage.
Thank you. That would be lovely.
Thank you.
That would be lovely.